Don't forget, you can reach the latest episode of Potomac Watch anytime. Just ask your smart speaker, play the Opinion Potomac Watch podcast. That is, play the Opinion Potomac Watch podcast.
From the opinion pages of the Wall Street Journal, this is Potomac Watch.
Welcome back. I'm Paul Gigot with Kim Strassel and Bill McGurn, and we're talking about the presidential debate, which comes in a week. And often presidential debates are overhyped, but this one is highly unusual. It's coming so early in the race, and the rules are going to be somewhat different. No audience. The microphones will be able to be turned off by the moderators, and it's going to be moderated by Jake Tapper and Dana Bash of CNN, particularly with Jake Tapper. His hostility to Trump is well known. And for that matter, the hostility of CNN in general to Trump. I assume they will try to be as fair-minded as possible, but I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how that goes. I think that Biden actually, this is a better chance for him, this debate. And I say that because expectations are going to be so low. Some of those low expectations set by Donald Trump, who's basically said, basically the guy can't carry a sentence. He's one step away from the crypt. Nobody thinks he's going to be Abraham Lincoln. But if he comes in and sounds reasonably coherent and doesn't stumble constantly or loses train of thought constantly, I think a lot of voters will say, well, I don't like either of them, but he can do the job. And I think that has an upside for Biden. Now, Trump, I think his risk is what Bill suggested, which is he falls for the bait, that Biden is going to go after Trump and try to fluster him. He's going to say criminal, criminal, criminal. He's going to say January 6th, January 6th, January 6th. He's going to say, you think the election was stolen, you won't abide by election results. And he'll go down the litany and hope that Trump takes that and then goes back and says, yes, Hunter Biden, you're just as crooked. You took money from China, and makes it all a personal fight. I think that helps Biden. Go ahead, Kim.
There's a reason that Joe Biden was the one that essentially called for this debate, because he needs an opportunity to turn his campaign around and to reset the decks, as it were, with exactly the kind of performance that you are describing. He's done it before, not that long ago. Let's remember when he came out in the State of the Union amid a lot of headlines about how he'd lost all his mojo and how was that going to roll. And he'd clearly taken some jolty medicine, and I thought it was more a campaign rally than a dignified State of the Union speech. But in terms of demonstrating energy and an ability to get through that speech, he did well. He got a lot of very good headlines out of it. He starts with low expectations here. Donald Trump team ought to look at this ad as the silver lining it is, which is a giant reveal of exactly what Biden's going to do throughout this entire debate, to bait and to goad. And let's hope his team understands that and is prepping him for it, and that he can manage himself. This could be an opportunity for Donald Trump to reset the narrative as well on these trials and the conviction. If he were to come across as presidential, not a word you always associate with Donald Trump, but he can do it when he's on his very best behavior. If he keeps focused on Biden's record, if he's looking to the future and actually enunciates some of his own policy agenda, makes the distinctions between Biden's failing policies and ones he wants to do, he's going to need some good answers for those convicted criminal lines. That is totally possible to do with some practice and some forethought. But again, the huge unknown here always comes down to Trump and his temperament. And if he can manage to get through 90 minutes without yelling into a muted microphone or making faces at it, because the cameras are going to be on him when those moments are happening. I mean, people in Washington are already coming up with drinking games as to how often that's going to happen.
Yeah, the cameras are going to be on Trump when his mic isn't on, like they're on young Prince Louis on the stage at the Troop of the Colours in the UK. He's hoping that he makes faces and other things. If I were advising Trump, what I would say is, look, just say something like this, very calmly, very coolly. President Biden wants to make this election all about me. And that's because he can't defend his record. I want to make this election all about you, the American voter, and making your lives better. And then he just has to go down the list. The price level has gone up 20% in Biden's term. The average American hasn't had a real raise after inflation in his presidency. Give a couple examples of average prices. Talk about something about the border, and then talk about the world. 2 wars, hot wars. American deterrence is gone. Biden can't seem to do anything about it. Don't fall for the bait and don't say, oh, the election in 2020 was stolen. Don't fall for the bait and say, Hunter Biden, Hunter Biden, Hunter Biden. And don't do the January 6th thing. Those guys are heroes and I'll pardon them, because that will hurt Trump and play into Biden's hands. Bill.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I think that's what he has to do, is compare the first terms of each guy and say which you like better, who's going to give you a better second term, and point all those things. In that sense, I kind of think the rules with the mic going dead kind of helped Trump. It's like establishing the rules early on so that he knows it'll be useless to keep talking because no one will hear it. So it might help him do what he has to do for that. And I think he has a persuasive case.
All right. Well, we've given our advice to the candidates. No doubt they won't take it, but we will have tried, which is all we can do. Thank you, Kim. Thank you, Bill. And thank you all for listening. We're here every day on Potomac Watch, and coming up, some big cases on the Supreme Court. So I hope you'll join us tomorrow and every day here on Potomac Watch.